Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Lenard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. First, for those watching on the behind-the-scenes sneak peek video, you could see the new background. There's the Rensen for Detroit and the Penobscot building over there. I got to point. Whatever way. Yeah, this mirror image stuff throws me off, even as a IT guy. At any rate, you're not here for the background. Joining me today is Dan Parr, and I got a joke. Are you any relation to John Parr? Do you know that guy, that singer, right? Did a song called Naughty Naughty?
I remember that song very well. In fact, when it came out, I was popular for a minute because we shared the same last name till people found out we weren't related.
Yeah, I've got that song on 45. 45 RPM vinyl for you younger folks. Although 33 and a third vinyl starting to come back in. I don't know if 45s are coming in fashion or not again yet, but at any rate, wink, wink, nod, nod. My audience knows it's kind of an ongoing gag. I try to cut all the ahs and the ums, and now audience is going to be confused because I engage AI to remove the ahs and the ums for any that sneak past me. So they'll be saying, what did he say there? Because there'll probably be a space where the AHS and UMSs would have been. Now I got to spell it out to actually force it into the transcript and force it into the show. But I cut out the AHSs and the UMSs and started the segue thing of saying crutch. At any rate, like moving along, right? Have you ever seen the movie Dave with Kevin Kline?
Yes, I did.
And we're walking, right? And now that I've left the audience in the dust with these references, they may not know them. I'm glad you did. And welcome to the show, Dan Parr, no relation to John Parr.
Pleasure to be here, even though I'm related to nobody famous.
Me neither. Well, my dad was quasi-semi-famous for a little while. Ted Leonard Jr. and the Polka Kings, they toured all over west or east of the Mississippi in their day as a polka band. But at any rate, I think that's number 3 I said. Cue the ongoing counter. Indeed, you're here to talk about the EUR Bible, easy to understand and read Bible. I love the concept. I have concerns, of course, but first let's start with who are you, right? Cue the who. Who are you? Where were you born? Where were you raised? How much time in prison did you spend for murder and all that good stuff?
Well, no time for prison yet. I'll say that. You never know what's going to happen with
Is it a goal in life?
Not a goal, definitely not. I want to avoid any kind of harm or pain as much as possible, but we're not promised that as believers. We know that there may be a time coming when persecution happens, and that could mean prison time. I don't know if it's in my life.
We're seeing it now with a lot of persecution of Christians, even in our own country.
Yeah.
And then you were born where and all that stuff?
Yeah, so I grew up in Northern California, a city called Petaluma, famous for 2 things. It's World Wrist Wrestling Championship every year, and it's Ugly Dog of the World contest every year. So that's where I hail from.
I've seen some ugly dogs in my life, and usually you see that on the news, the ugly dog of the year, and usually it's some dog that looks like it's deformed.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. A face only a fur baby's human mother could love, right?
Exactly.
So what spurred this idea? I'll get to my concerns in a while, obviously, but what spurred the idea of the EUR, easy to understand and read Bible?
Yeah, I kind of went into this kicking and screaming, honestly. I did not want to do it necessarily. I had been told
Yeah,
by
there's a bazillion versions of the Bible out there. Who needs another one, right?
exactly. Yes, that was my complaint to God. um, I had been told that people like listening to my voice when I read the Bible in church. And so I thought, well, that's very nice. I'll do something for Easter and put it up on my Facebook, a little story about the resurrection. So I went to the book of Luke, found the story of the resurrection of Christ, and kind of reworded it and put it out there on Facebook. Got some good feedback from it. People seemed to enjoy it.
I can hear some uptight sphincters clenching. Reworded it, blasphemer! Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Tell those people not to read the message, then they're going to lose it completely. So I did that with the resurrection story, and I enjoyed the process. So I thought, you know what? I wouldn't mind doing this and just putting it out on Audible and Amazon, see if anybody wants to purchase it. I'll do it for the book of Luke. And for me, that was like huge, right? Doing the entire book of Luke. But I sat down and I thought, okay, I got to get a version I can read and not infringe on anybody's copyright or trademarks. So I had to look for stuff that was in public domain. And of course, the King James Version is in public domain. But I took one look at that and I thought, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Old Oxford English, yeah.
Yeah. So I had to find another version. I came across
You may as well have just read Shakespeare, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that difficult for me. I came across the World English Bible, which is a good interdenominational version that's put out there in the public domain. And for as good as it is, there's some language choices and some sentence structures that were just challenging and difficult to get through. So I thought, what I'll do is I'll start with this, a good solid base, and then I'll just reword it, change some words without changing the meaning or intent to say the same thing in perhaps a little bit more concise manner. So I worked through the book of Luke, and it was a challenge, but it was also kind of enjoyable as well, because I felt like I was working with my dad on something, right? It was me and God working on this. I'd get frustrated, say, how do I word this? What am I supposed to do here? Inevitably, he would lead me to another version of the Bible or a commentary or something else that would help me to get an understanding of what was being said and what I needed to communicate. So I finished the book of Luke, put it up on Audible and Amazon, and I thought, okay, good, glad that's done. It was enjoyable, but I'm happy to be through it. And then the Holy Spirit, after not too long, seemed to kind of prompt me, Acts is really the book of Luke part 2. You really need to tell them more of the story than just leaving them hanging at the book of Luke. So I thought, okay, I'll do the book of Acts. And so I sat down, worked on it for a good while, did the book of Acts, got done with it, thought, whew, glad that's done. It wasn't too much longer before I got a prompting in my spirit. The book of Romans is really good, a lot of good theology in Romans. And so I did the book of Romans. And long story short, I finished the entire New Testament. And the whole time I'm doing this, Joseph, I'm thinking, God, we don't need another version of the Bible. There's 100 translations out there. Why do we need one more? It's just not necessary. And I would complain and kind of say that in my mind, but yet still being obedient to the work I felt called to and doing it. And I think one time God just kind of got a little tired of me complaining, and he seemed to speak gently to my spirit. Why don't you let me decide what's necessary and what's not? And I thought, okay, all right, I'll do it.
The rub, of course, is the rewording and the intent. I trust your intent is good, but people are going to have suspicions, and I will be skeptical and suspicious, and we should be. I'm skeptical and suspicious of King James. What was his real motivation? His own? Don't look at what's going on in my royal castle.
Yeah.
Look what I'm going to give you And how much translation, transversions, and rewordings to something else is in that even compared to all the others? Unless if we read original Aramaic, Greek, Hebrew, and Latin, we can't personally read it and translate it verbatim ourselves. So we rely on others, and indeed others, humans. It's why we have so many versions of the Bible. Jesus didn't say, go forth and create a billion denominations in my name. No, he didn't say that. He didn't tell us to do that. We frail, flawed, messed up humans did that and and for a while, Catholics and Protestants, literally, I have a book I'm currently calling Project Carpe Diem, hopefully, knock on wood, right? My 6th international book. And I go into that in the book too. Jesus didn't say to do that. We did that. And literally, Protestants and Catholics in England were literally maiming, killing, murdering, slaughtering, screaming and yelling and calling each other all kinds of names in and out of the book that even weren't invented at the time over minor scriptural doctrine differences. Jesus didn't do that. God didn't do that. We did that.
Yeah, absolutely. It never ceases to amaze me that Jesus trusted us with the task of bringing his message to the world. If I was Jesus, I would have thought, what do I need to do? I need to sit down and write all this out for them so that they will have a clear understanding.
They're going to screw it up.
He did not do that, though.
And we did.
People.
We screwed it up. Yes. That's why this is the Christitutionalist show, not the Catholic-tutionalist or the Baptitutionalists or the Methoditutionalists or the Presbyterianitutionalists. All the Bible in full context of trying to focus on the things we can agree on rather than going to war at each other, because Satan wins when we do that with each other rather than Christ winning. Yes?
Absolutely. He came to steal, kill, and destroy, right? And if he can destroy, then he wins. When we come together in unity, there is power, right, in that. And it's a force that can't be stopped because we've got Jesus on our side and we're working with one another. So anything he can do to disrupt that plan, of course, he wants to do.
And we know how it ends.
Exactly.
Revelation. We know how it ends. We know we win. But in the meantime, again, we keep screwing things up down here.
Yeah.
And I immediately thought that, I love Lee Greenwood and the song God Bless the USA. Great song. Love him. Love that song. But when Trump helped him brand the God Bless the USA Bible, I've got an article on Before It's News about it. Immediately skeptical. Whoa. What? It's really just a rebranding of a King James version with a different cover on it and our founding documents in the beginning and the end and stuff. So I've lightened up on my criticism of it, but in a way, I think you can understand my concern for that, just as I am concerned about your EUR Bible.
Yeah, and really, I was probably the most concerned, right? I told God, I'm not a Bible scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I am not a PhD in this. And sure, I've taken a couple of seminary classes, but I feel in no way qualified to do this task. And he seemed to remind me that, yeah, the first guys that I called weren't very qualified either.
Yeah, you could say that again. Well, as the saying goes, God has a way of using us frail, flawed, and imperfect people to sometimes accomplish some tasks. And in the meantime, our free will sometimes gets in the way and we screw things up. But if we're indeed a vessel of his peace, and then follow the instructions we're supposed to be, rather than that little devil on the shoulder that might pop up from time to time, right? Don't listen to him. or her or it or whatever. Right? Yeah, I think you and I are on this. And again, like I said in the green room before I hit record, all I knew about you was your name and that you did the EUR Bible, and that's all I wanted to know. I don't script my shows. I don't want to know a lot about the guests. I bring you on, and whatever rabbit holes open, we go down.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. God just always seems to get his way in the end, right? I went kicking and screaming into this, hadn't had any intention of making a new version of the Bible. If you would have told me 5 years ago, hey, you're going to create a new version of the Bible, I would have thought you are insane. There's no way I'm doing that. But here, 4 years of labor later, and we're done.
Yeah. I'm on my 6th international book, and I did. 2 of them are related to the show. I felt called to do this. I don't need this hassle. I don't need these headaches. I don't need the stress it causes me, keeping me up some nights. But here I am because I do feel called that I'm supposed to be here doing this, talking with people like you. And the other thing is why I don't script and I don't like to know much about the guests. I'm a lazy human. I freely admit it. I don't want to do 5 hours of research on who the heck is this Dan Parr guy so I learn everything about him and can formulate a bunch of questions. No, wing it by the seat of my pants.
Let the Holy Spirit lead. The wind blows wherever it wants. You don't know where it's coming. You don't know where it's going to go. You just follow it.
Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have other projects going on, or are you thinking of doing a podcast, or are you doing more audible readings?
So right now, my focus is really just getting the word out about this new version. I spent 4 years creating it, and I've not done really any advertising for it. I've just come on a few podcasts and talked to people about it, and we'll see what God does for that. I do have a heart for Gen Z, and I have a son who's Gen Z, and I see the things that they're facing. And I've been working slowly on a devotional, walking through a dad's words to Gen Z, walking through the Bible in a year. With 365 devotionals. Now, when I started it, 365 didn't seem like it was going to be a lot to do. As I started going through it now, well into it, 365 is a lot. So it's taken me a while to do that.
When you said the Gen Z thing, I call it today's Twitter attention span. It's like, okay, so you're going to do the Bible one tweet at a time. How long would that take, right?
Yeah, right.
But literally, they're literally tweet-sized scriptures that you could do in a row, in an order, and no one would need to do. Being a former IT guy, somebody should do that. And there are various religious bots that seem to tweet random scriptures and whatnot rather than do a formal structured thing. So now you're saying a daily devote. I'm envisioning a calendar, a word a day type calendar, a scripture a day type calendar.
You know, that's might be my next project. That's not a bad thought, right? A calendar to come out. But yeah, we'll see where God leads. Right now, I feel called to do this and get the word out. And as I have time, I'll work on that. If it's something he wants me to do, I am certain he has his way of getting his point across, and I'll do it. But slowly but surely, it's coming forth.
So now, obviously, I'd normally wait till the end, but at the same token, if I could keep a show short, I will. Again, today's Twitter attention span. The shorter the show, the more likely more people will actually listen to it or tune into BitChute, Brighteon, Daily Motion in France, Rumble, or YouTube to see the behind-the-scenes video. Some shows, there's more visuals and they need to see the video rather than listen. I take it this will be one that will be fine, heard on any of the 25 plus audio platforms this show is carried. Wow. And now that I rambled like that, I lost track of where I was going to go with that. But, and on Amazon, where can it be found? I may as well ask, do you have a website?
Yeah, primarily I'm on Audible and Amazon. So if they go and search Dan Parr or EUR Bible, if they put that in Audible or Amazon, everything I've done should pop up for them right there.
Okay. So do you have official author page on Amazon.com? Because it is a book. Are you selling the EUR actually through Amazon?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And as I did this, Joseph, I did the book of Luke first, right? So I released it as a single, and then I did Acts, and I released it as a single, and then I compiled them and put them together. So if somebody just wants to get a sample, they don't want to listen to the whole Bible. If they want to do a deep dive Bible study on, the book of Hebrews, they can buy just the book of Hebrews and listen to that. So it's available as a compilation, as the entire Bible, as a chronological version is out there. There's also a Bible in a year that's out there. And the regular Bible, Genesis to Revelation, all 66 books available for him as well.
Yeah, you're a typical rock star today, right? Put out a couple singles to get interest before you drop the actual full album.
There you go. I wish I was that smart to think of that. It just kind of happened that way.
Now, so you don't have easy to understand and read Bible.org or EUR.org or anything like that yet?
That's probably a good idea, and I should do that. I'm just not that tech savvy and haven't done it.
A former IT guy, I highly recommend Wix, Wix.com.
Okay.
Easy, WYSIWYG. You log in, of course, you pay, and you can then use a template, and it will help you build the website, because it doesn't sound like you need anything overly complex or complicated, just so that you can have the domain, and you may just want to go with EUR.org or EUR.info, like one of my books, Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You, is through Wix to build the website, terrorstrikes.info. So you could do EUR.info. You better register that quick before this airs, though, so somebody doesn't steal it on you.
Yeah. Good idea. Thank you.
So, it's pretty easy nowadays, right? We're so many years into technology. Some people use WordPress. To me, that's overly complicated and complex. An average heck, just you said you have Gen Zers in the family. They could probably put you up a Wix site in a half a day.
Probably.
Well, no problem. I take a couple pictures of you, screenshots of this and that and the other thing, and bam, it'll be there. It's pretty simple nowadays. So at any rate, I think I'm up to 5 of those now. Indeed, we've kind of played that through. What else have you got going on, or should we just go ahead and wrap it up? Short and sweet.
I wish I had more to tell you, but primarily just doing all 66 books of the Bible has kept my plate full for a good while. So after 4 years of working on it, after 4 years of working on it, I'm just now out there telling people about it, that it exists for them to sample and listen if they'd like.
Yes, well, okay. So thank you, Dan Parr, for coming on the Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. I'm glad I came across you just for behind-the-scenes people's knowledge on Podmatch. Mm-hmm. It's one of the many services at podcastors, and I invented the term podcastees, like you. Well, podcastee would be like the listener, but podcasters and guests can come together through, and I'm sure glad Podmatch happened to match us as a good fit between show and guest, and I really think it was. It was very enjoyable talking to you.
My pleasure, Joseph. Thanks so much for allowing me to come and tell people about it.
Take care. God bless.
God bless.
Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, Coming Soon to a City Near You. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Stand up for what is right, 'cause God shares His message every day and night. Believes in freedom and making His voice heard, sharing His message over all the earth. God loves you for all you do. Stand strong and God bless you.
In the heart of Wyandotte, he rose from the ashes with a voice like thunder that no one can clash with. Born in the summer of '62, a warrior spirit strong and true, with a pen as his sword and ideas ablaze. In the battle for truth, he's setting the stage. Joseph Leonard, hear the call of the brave, fighting for liberty, our rights to save. From the shadows of doubt, he's lighting the way. With honor and integrity, he'll never sway. In the realm of fiction, he weaves his art, a political thriller that tears you apart. Terror strikes echo, a warning to heed. In a world of chaos, he plants the seed. Cancer came knocking, but he stood tall, a survivor spirit ready to fall. Joseph Leonard, hear the call of the brave, fighting for liberty, our rights to save. From the shadows of doubt, he's lighting the way. With honor and integrity, he'll never sway. Podcasts are rolling, his voice rings clear. In a symphony of truth we gather near. Defending the Constitution, he leads the crowd. In the name of freedom, he stands proud. Raise up your voice, let this anthem ignite. For Joseph Leonard, let's stand and unite.